Yehuda Tzvi ben David, Nachum and his mother-in-law Al-Kafaya Bas Avram Yosef, Melon Haran Haller in memory of his father Avraham ben Zev. A week of learning, Michael and Sharon Glass in memory of his mother Rivka Yitta Bas Yitzchak HaKohen. And there are no days, and Shalish Shudas is a shul sponsorship. Okay, give this to Rebbe. Okay, welcome all. We are in the bottom of Pei Hey Amid Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. If you recall, we learned in that earlier that if I transfer an IOU, Ruven owes me money. I sell the IOU to Kenny. Then I cancel the debt. I'd say to Ruven, you don't have to pay. Kenny is left holding the bag. Then the Gemara said, not only could I cancel the debt, but if I pass away and my son inherits the debt, he could cancel the debt. And again, Kenny would be left holding the bag. So that's background for the story that's coming up. The Kreve de Rav Nachman, Zivinsa L'Ksubasa B'Tuva Hanoch. A lady who was a relative of Rav Nachman sold her kasuba for pennies on the dollar. Literally, it means for a satisfaction. The concept here is that number one, money is worth less if you're not going to have it till the future. And then secondly, she may predecease her husband. So if you want to sell a kasuba, you might get 15 or 20 cents on the dollar. So she sells it for pennies on the dollar. And then sometime later, Igrisha Vishkiva, her husband divorces her, and prior to his paying her the kasuba, she dies. Okay? So Asulo Toive Lo Lebarta, she leaves behind only one child who is a female. So the people who owned the kasuba obligation, they bought it, come to the daughter, Amar Lahu, they say, and they ask her for their money because she inherits the kasuba from her father, and she now has to pay these guys. They have the actual the kasuba document. So Rav Nachman, who is the relative, is sort of sitting there, and he overhears these people ask the daughter for their money, and he sort of ruminates out loud. Okay, he says, Amalahu, he says to the claimants, Rav Nachman, Leka delisva la eitza, is there no one who would make a suggestion to the daughter? Tezil v'sechala l'ksubasa te'ima l'gabe abua. Let her go to her father and say to him, I cancel your obligation to pay mother's kasuba to me. So now the holders are left holding the bag, so to speak, okay? And why could she do that with aplomb? The sersa mine. Since she's the only child, when her father dies, she will collect his estate, which will include the money of the kasuba that she waived earlier. So she gains, and the purchases of the document lose. Okay, and that she overheard this rumination of Reb Nachman, Azla the Achilta, and she told her father, I waived the debt. Okay, so but now Rav Nachman has charata, so to speak. He regrets having said that aloud. Amar Rav Nachman, Sinu atzmenu ka'orvei hadayoni. I've turned myself into a Towain, a person who lays out a case before Dayanin, which apparently, as Shakespeare said, first kill all the lawyers. Even then, lawyers seem to be in ill repute. Now, the Gemara has a shaila. Why did Rav Nachman speak up, and then why did he, regret it? Me'ikora my savar ulesaif my savar. What was he thinking initially that he spoke up, and what was he thinking later that he regretted speaking up? Me'ikora savar. At the beginning, he thought, sis alem. You should not hide yourself from a relative. If your relative is a problem, you should make an effort to solve it for him. Ulesoif, and toward the end, he thought, Savar Adam Chashuv Shaini. I meant it as a rumination, and they took it as a psak halacha. So if you are in a position of authority, you have to measure your words carefully. So now we're going to remind ourselves, since we had this little maisa, of the actual halachas involved. Gufa, Omer Shmuel tells us, Hamoicher star chayv l'chaveiro, if Ruvain sells his star to Shimon, v'chazer mechaloi, and then he forgives the original debt, Michael, the original debt is canceled. The afilu yoresh Michael, and even an heir has the power to cancel the debt, although he wasn't involved in the transaction. Bob, you have a question?
Yeah, you don't return the money that was originally used to purchase this debt?
You borrow $10 from me. You say, I'll give it back to you tomorrow. I say, don't bother. It's a gift. Do you have to pay it back? No. So if you borrowed the money and then I need $5 desperately. So I say to Reuven, Bob owes me $10. Give me 5, you can have the debt. And then I come to you and I say, I'm canceling the debt. So Reuven is out the $5.
You don't have to give him back his $5?
No. He bought commercial paper in the course of business, and he thought it was a good investment, and it wasn't.
So why would he ever do that if there's no guarantee on his money?
Because he's getting it for pennies on the dollar. It's like buying bonds from a bankrupt company.
Right.
And maybe you'll clean up. If you can buy the debt for 25 cents on the dollar and collect a full dollar, it's the best investment you ever made.
It's a big if.
That's why it goes for only 25 cents on a dollar. Okay, so that's the case. So similar to what you were saying, okay? Amar Rav Huna Bereda Rav Yoshua, the buyer of the note has a process he could implement that would give him a better shot at collecting. The pikeyahu, if that buyer of the note is smart, makarkesh lezuze, literally it means he'll shake coins. What he'll do is he'll say to the person that owes the money, look, I'll give you $50 if you will write a brand new IOU, a brand new shtar chov. So now there's a direct shtar chov from the initial borrower to the holder of the note. And now the guy who lent the money is out of the picture and he can't cancel it. So the Gemara is saying, buy the note for pennies on the dollar and then give the other guy a couple bucks and ask him to write a new IOU, and that protects his investment. So the Gemara anticipated your question, Bob, and dealt with it. Okay, v'kasav le'shtara b'shmei, and then write the IOU, I owe Bob the money. Okay, now, another background thing. You can damage something directly. I can punch Ruvain in the nose. Then a Bezdin will make me pay his doctor bills and his embarrassment, all of the 5 categories of loss. I could push his laptop to the edge of the table, and then in a couple of minutes, it topples off and it breaks his leg. That's a groma. The Bezdin would not make me pay, although min hashemayim I should. But on terms of Bezdin, they can't make me pay. There's an intermediate case. If I do something that is not direct, but it's pretty close to instant. For instance, Ruvain is standing there. I pull a stack of books out and let them drop on his head. That's not 2 minutes later, like the laptop, that's instant. That's called the garmi. So everybody agrees that a groma bezdin can't make you pay. With regard to a garmi, there's a machlokas. The Gemara in some places says you have to pay. So now we're going to say, what about our case? The reason this garmi is brought up now is because in our case, the minute I Michael the debt, I cause harm to the other guy. I didn't go punch him in the nose. I didn't steal his wallet, but I cause him instant loss. So that's a garmi.
They have the same, sure,
The same word, but they make 2 forms of it because in one case, nobody argues, and in the other case, they do argue.
Okay.
So now the Gemara is going, Omar Amemar. Amemar tells us, Man the doyin dina de garmi. People who hold from the side of the argument that you do have to pay on a garmi. Okay? So he's a Yav Bezdin over here, and he wants to not leave the holder of the debt completely in the lurch. So he says, and before we learned that Koren learns it differently, there are 2 interpretations here. One is you're merely holding paper, which it's meaningless. The other is you made an investment, you had a sofa, write the thing, the document itself, the cloth cost money. So there is a small intrinsic value to the document. Okay, man the dayan dina de garmi, according to those who hold you do have to pay for a garmi. Magme be de me shtara mialya. They make the guy who was Michael the debt pay at least the costs involved in writing the shtar, the intrinsic value to the shtar, as if it was a full valid shtar. Oman delodon dina de garmi, according to that view, magbe be de me niyara ba'alma, you simply pay for the cost of the piece of cloth. Okay. Hava of Uvda, there once was a story where a case of a garmi came to Rav Ashi. The kafya Rafram l'Rav Ashi, and Rafram ordered or pushed Rav Ashi Agve Bey to allow the collection in total. Now we just said that at a minimum you just evaluate the object. So he uses a metaphor, kikshura letzalme, because that document becomes like a rare piece of wood used for a carving. If you're building a house You buy a 2x4, you're putting sheetrock over it. You really don't care what it looks like. But if you're a sculptor and you're creating a piece of art, then you want to buy a flawless piece of mahogany or rosewood or whatever it is, and you pay a lot for that. So he's saying that we make him pay a lot because the star has some value as, and the analogy is to a rare piece of wood. Okay, now we're going to have another ruling. Amar Ameimar Mishmei de Rav Chama. He makes a ruling in the name of Rav Chama. Haiman deika ale ksuvas isha ubal chayv. Okay, Ruvain passes away. There is not enough money to pay both his debts and his wife's ksuba. Now remember, the wife's ksuba is a lien on his property. A debt might be a lien on property, or it might not be. Also, it's as in modern times, there are subordinate, you have a first mortgage and a second mortgage. So the first mortgage is satisfied before the guy who has a second mortgage can come into the picture. You owe money to Shimon and you owe money to Levi. You borrowed from Shimon in Elul and you borrowed from Levi in Tishrei. Shimon's debt would have Kedima. There are priorities of debts. So now this family, the guy owes land to more than one person, one of them being his wife. The Islay Ara, the Islay Zuze. He has both a bank account, Zuze, and Ara and land. Okay? So what do we do? Labalchav misaltinan lebezuze. We pay off the person who has a note with the cash, and leisha misalkin lebi ara, and for the woman, we either give her land or sell the land and give her the money. Okay, and the reason we do it that way is haikidine v'haikidine. The man got his money back. He may even have had a mortgage, but you don't have to give the house to the bank. You only have to give them the money. And with regard to the wife, you can either give her money by selling the land or give her the land itself. The ilo ika elachad ara. But what if there is no bank account? There is just one plot of land, and the plot of land is only worth, say, 210 zuzim. And he owes his wife 200, and he has to pay us, somebody to record the deed and so on. V'ilo ika elachad ara. If he can only pay one person with the one piece of land, v'lo chazia elachad. It's only enough to pay one of the debts. Lebalchov yahavinan le. We give it to the debtor. Leisha lo yahavinan la, and we do not give the woman. Now, I just got finished saying the woman has a prior obligation. So what's going on here? So my timer, why do we do that? Yeser mimashe ish rotza lenisa isha rotza lenise. That we make an assumption that a penniless woman will find somebody to marry her and he'll support her. That she, this is a special case. You're right. And when the money is there, you give her the kasuba. What happens if a guy dies penniless? She can't get her kasuba. He has no land.
He has nothing? No.
He has nothing. There are plenty of people who live on their Social Security. They have nothing. Their kids think they're going to get a bundle. They get nothing. You maybe even borrowed against your apartment. Your mamish have nothing. There are people in Century Village who have Tamchei Shabbos, get free food because they can't afford to eat. That's a reality. And then obviously you don't pay the ksuba. But here we're saying If the guy is out, he may have nothing. He may not have anything to eat. And he's not going to marry some lady who has a few bucks. But the woman in the society they lived in will find some guy to marry her, and he'll have to feed her. So the equity is that she can manage, and the lender may not be able to manage. Okay, I know it's tough to swallow, but that's where it is. Omerle Rav Papa Rav Chama. So Rav Papa talks to Rav Chama. Now we just said that there are sometimes you use the money, sometimes you sell the land and use the money, sometimes you give a parcel of land. Omerle Rav Papa Rav Chama. Vadai the Amrisu Mishmei the Rava. Did you really say in Rava's name? Hi man Damaske Vezuze, if Rove owes Shimon money, the Islay Ara, and he has a piece of property worth something more than that amount of money, and it's a relatively small loan. Also Balchov Akotava Mine. And the creditor comes and say, I want my money. Amarle zil shokil miara. The debtor says, here's the deed to my property. So cut off. You have a piece of land worth 200 zuz, enough for a vegetable garden. Here, the 100 zuz worth, half of this little plot of land behind my house, I'll deed to you. And your debt is satisfied. Do we really say that? Now recognize that now, because it's a relatively small piece of land to begin with, by subdividing it, it doesn't do either party any good. It's not even enough to grow vegetables. Okay, that's the underlying thought here. So Amrinanle, do we really say to him, Zil Zavines Ate Chavla? Take the land, what we owe, and sell the land, and give me you read 200 zuz for it, give me my 100 zuz. So now you got your money back. So Omerle Lo, he says, no, Rava did not say that. Okay? Emily Gufa of the Hachi Have. So Rava, I know Rava said something. What did he actually say, and what were the circumstances of the case in which he said it? Omerle, he says, Taila may ois of the Oved Kochavim have. The man who owes the money. I owe Reuven $100. Reuven comes and says, give me the money. I say, I don't have any money. Reuven says, there's $100 bill on your desk. What are you talking about? You got the money. I say, no, that's a non-Jew, a goy's money. It just happens to be, it's the cleaning lady's money. So, and he's not telling the truth, okay? Who asa shalo kahoygen? Since the person who owes the money is acting inappropriately, lefichach asubo shalo kahoygen. So Beis Din treats him inappropriately, mida keneged mida. So now we take away his vegetable garden and he's left with just enough to plant 2 tulips because he tried to abuse his creditor. Okay? Amar le Rav Kahana le Rav Papa. So Rav Kahana says to Rav Papa, Lidi dach, according to that rationale, the Amrat Perias Balchov mitzvah, that paying a debt, and now in quotes, is merely a mitzvah. Okay? So okay, Omerle Nichalela Avid Mitzvah Mai. If somebody, we're broadening the question now. Somebody says, I don't feel like performing that mitzvah. He comes to shul, his tefillin are on his chair, assuming he doesn't have physical issues where he can't put on tefillin. I don't feel like putting tefillin on today. So what do we do to him? That's the question. relating back. He refuses to pay the debt. That's a mitzvah. What do we do to him? So Omarle, Tanina, we have a Mishnah, a Brisa that teaches us what we do to him. B'medvarim amurim, where do we say that you get 39 malchus if you violate a law? You eat pork, you get malchus. You refuse to do a mitzvah, Bezdin can do what they have to do to make you do the mitzvah till you say Rotzani, even if they literally beat you to death. Okay, presumably you'll say yes before you die and you put the damn tefillin on. But okay, what are we talking about? Mitzvah lo saseh. You get a fixed 39 malchus for a lo saseh. Aval b'mitzvahs aseh, like paying back the debt. Kegon she'omrim lo aseh sukkah v'yeinu oiseh. I remind you, you have to put up a sukkah and you say, I don't feel like it. Oh, lulav v'yeinu oiseh. You have to acquire a lulav and you say, I don't want to bother. Okay, or then we beat him until he agrees, add those words, or until he dies, whichever comes first. Okay, so that is the basis on which we can deprive him of his usable piece of land, because that's less violent, so to speak, than beating him till he dies. Okay. Boy mine, I don't think dying is funny. Boy mine, dummy Rami bar Chama Rav Chisda. Rami bar Chama asks Rav Chisda a question. Hareze gitech, we have this, a man gives his wife a get, v'loy te'egershi bo ela la'acha shloshim yom. He says, here's the get now, but we won't really be divorced till a month from now, 30 days from now, okay? Now the halacha is, I'll remind you, that at the time of the divorce, she has to have the get in hand, or at least in her rishus, okay? The halacha, she goes, v'hinachta b'tzadei rishus rabin. She goes and she puts the get down on the shoulder of the road in front of her house. Okay? Mahu. So what's the halacha? So a shoulder of the road is somewhat like the Rishus Harabim. On the other hand, like in Long Beach, the sidewalk, which would be the shoulder of the road, even though I didn't own it, I was mechuyev to shovel it if there was snow. So I have an incidence of bilis in it. And maybe that's enough incidence of bilis to be called my rishus. That's the question. Okay. Omerle, Rav Chisda says back to Rami, Eina migureshes midirav u'Shmuel. Both Rav and Shmuel agree that she is not divorced. The Rav and Shmuel Amri Travayu, they both say that and now we're going back to the business of the orphans whose possessions were in the middle of on the Rishus Harabim, and any creditor could come and take them. Although if those possessions are in their possession, if those objects are in their rishus, the creditors cannot go and take them. So they try to make it an analogy. It's like the objects that are sitting in the road, and any creditor can come and get them. So they are not in the possession of the heirs. So too, this get is not in the lady's position. V'tzidei rishus harabim k'rishus harabim damu. So we're assuming that the shoulder of the road is considered a part of the road and all the dinim of the road. So Rami Bar Chama says, Adarabba, not so. Migureshes midirav Nachman. She is divorced based on the concept we had this earlier of Rav Nachman. The Omer Rav Nachman Omer Rava Baravuha. We have a Messiah from Rava Baravuha. I say to my friend, Mishuch Parazu, make a kinyan today on this cow. Veloti he kanyaloch ad achashloishim yom, but you won't gain true possession of it until 30 days from now. Kana, the acquisition is valid. Vafilu omedes ba'agam, even if this cow is sinking quickly in quicksand in the middle of the swamp and is inaccessible. So now he wants to make the analogy, my love, hainu agam, hainu tzidei rishus harabim. He wants to make an analogy between the swamp and the side of the road. What he's basically saying is she accepted the get at the point and was kind of it. And what happened, and then the condition of later is less significant. So we want to say that the get left on the side of the road should be chol based on the agam. So Rav Chisda says, "Lo, that's not so. Agam l'chud v'tzida rishus harabim l'chud." There's a big difference between a swamp and the shoulder of a road. Now, that's how one version of this whole Maisa, this whole dialogue. Ika da Amri, others explain the dialogue differently. Omrele, Migureshes, me Rav Nachman. The Rav Chisda said the woman is divorced first. He didn't mention Rav and Shmuel first. The woman is divorced because of Rav Nachman's din. V'tzidei rishus harabim ka'agam dami, and the side of the road is analogous to the swamp. And then Rami Bachama says, Adarabba, it's the other way around. She's not divorced. Eina migareshes mit Rav and Shmuel. She's not divorced because of the agreement between Rav and Shmuel. My love, what do we have to say over here? Hainu rishus harabim v'hainu tzidei rishus harabim. You can't say that the shoulder of the road is exactly the same as the road itself. That the side of the road is not really a rishus harabim. It's like you have a parking space in front of your house. You get very angry if somebody else parks there, because even though it's sort of the rishus harabim, you treat it as yours, and therefore the get would be low. We don't make that argument. Rishus harabim l'chud, v'tzidei rishus harabim l'chud. They're two different things. You have no right to get angry if somebody takes your parking space. Okay, new Mishnah. Now we had earlier that there are circumstances in which a husband can make his wife swear. Okay, that's fundamental to the whole rest of today. Now, what happens if the husband gives unusual responsibility to his wife, and he's concerned, she's say running the store, and he's concerned she's taking money out of the register and buying shoes with it, right? So
Stealing from herself.
what?
It's like stealing from herself.
No, it's his store. A woman's work is her husband's property. A woman's salary is her husband's property. So if she's running the store, she's acting as his shliach, so to speak. She has no right to, that's what the Mishnah says. I know in my family and in your family, I have to ask permission to spend money, but the Mishnah doesn't work that way. Okay, so Hamoishi ves ishto chenvenis. If a man sets his wife up as a storekeeper, oh, shemina apitropoia, or he appoints her for a designated period of time to supervise his business. He's going to the hospital for 2 weeks. So do me a favor, honey, go in and keep an eye on my workers, right? And he has a suspicion that she's pilfering. Hareze mashbia kolzman sheyirtza. The husband can come along, drag her to Besdin, and make her swear she's not pilfering as often as he likes. Okay? Rav Elazar Omer afilu al pilcha v'yad isosa. Rav Eliezer says he can even make her swear as often as he likes regarding her normative household chores, literally her spinning and her baking. So now the question is there's a concept that if I make you, if you have to swear in court on topic A, then you can roll in and make them swear on topic B and C, even though normally you couldn't make them swear on B or C. So the question is Rav Nachman saying after she swears she's not pilfering, we can make her swear she needs dough? Or is Rav Elazar giving a blanket statement that lechatchila he could make her swear about her household chores? Iboilahu, they ask a shaila. Rabbi Lezer al yedei gilgul ka'omar. Does Rabbi Lezer say you can make her swear about the dough because she's already swearing about the pilfering? That's called a gilgul shvua, a rolling shvua. Oh, lechatchila ka'omar. Or does he say the husband can drag his wife to Besdin as often as he likes and make her swear she washed the dishes, and tomorrow make her swear she did the laundry, etc. Toishma, let's look at the Brisa and see how it puts it. Amru Lola Rabbi Eliezer, the other rabbi said to Rabbi Eliezer, Ein Adam Dor Im Nachash B'Ktifa. The husband's constantly schlepping her to Besdin to swear. How can she live with him? It's like living with a snake in a basket. Okay, a person can't do that. So their question works well if he meant lichatchila. Shapir, then their thing is a good statement. Ella, amrat al yedei gilgul. If he says no, he can only make her swear to housework over and when she's already swearing about pilfering in the store. My nafkamine. What's the big deal? She's there in Besdin anyway. It's pretty much a one-time deal because she'll close the store. And what's the difference if she has to swear two things instead of just one? The Amrale, so what the difference would be that you can object to that too? It's not the same thing. The Amrale, she could say to her husband, Kevan de Kordikas at Basrai Kulahai. Since you keep such a scrutiny on me, you check on me to that degree of scrutiny, Lo matzina adir v'dach bahadach. I'm impossible for me to live with you. And okay, so that means Taka that Rebbe Lezer might mean it to be lachatchila because they objected based on her kindness. Taishma. So let's pursue it a little bit further. Hare shelo poter es ishto min haneder u'min hashvua. Okay, if the husband does not exempt his wife from a vow or shvua, v'hu shiva lehen v'nis, and then he makes her become a house storekeeper, o shemina apot ropia, or she appoints him as an administrator, as a custodian. Harezeh mashpia kolzman sheyirtza. Since he did not exempt her, he can make her swear every single 20 minutes that she hasn't pilfered. Okay? Lo choshiva chanvanis. What if he never gave her this storekeeper position? Velo minach apotropia, and she did not take over a supervision job in his business. Eina yachol hashpia. He can't make her swear, meaning on normative housework. Rav Elazar Omer Afal pi shalo hashiva chenvenis, even though there is no setup as a storekeeper, velo minich apitropia, and he's not made her an administrator, harezeh mashbia kolzman sheyirtza, he can make her swear whenever he wants, even a normative housework. Okay? She'ein lecha isha ela shelo na'asis apitropas sha'achas b'chai baila. Because in the real world, it's impossible that at one or two moments in time, the woman supervises something on behalf of her husband. He says, look, I have to run down to the grocery store, keep an eye on the housekeeper that she doesn't steal anything. I mean, every one of us, our wives cook for us, we're not there. So we make her the mashgiach in the kitchen. So in the real world, there is no marital situation where the woman does not act on behalf of the husband. Therefore, the chenelvanis shvua circumstance applies to daily life as well. That's Rav Eliezer's position, and now it's absolutely firm that he means lechatchila. Ad pilcha ad isasa. She can make her swear on household things, literally her spindle or her dough. Amalo. So at this point, even in the Brisa, the rabbis object. Ein adam dor im nachash pekififa. You can't live with a snake in the basket. Shmamino lechatchila, shmamino. So it turns out that Rav Eliezer was making an independent statement, and if the halacha were to be like Rav Eliezer, you can go home and tell your wife you're taking her to Rabbi Yasker, and she has to swear that she did the dishes last night. And you will not be coming back from Rabbi Yasker. She will be coming back on her own. Okay. Now, we have this concept a few times already, that there are occasions where a husband can make his wife swear. What if, I'm doing a hypothetical, this is not a Mishnah. What if a woman had one marriage and the husband's constantly making her swear and they get divorced or he dies, she kills him. Now she's remarried and she wants a condition of the marriage that the husband will put in writing. He will never make her swear to anything ever. We can imagine that happening. That's why I used the circumstance I did. Okay? Kosev law, the husband writes a document. Neder shvua ein li alayach. I will never make you make a neder, and I will never make you take a shvua. Ein yachal hashpia. So based on that document, he can never make her swear. Avo, that document dies with her. So if, for example, she passes away, let's say that he divorces her and she goes to court and says he never paid the ksuba. And he says to the court, I have paid the ksuba. So the court would normally say to her, you have to swear you didn't get the money. And then she whips out this document, my husband can't make me swear. So the Bezdin would have to take her at her word and give her the money, perhaps again. But what if she dies before the ksuba is paid? Okay? Avo mashbiyahu es yoresheho v'es haboim b'rishusa. He can make her heirs or anyone who has legitimate possession of her estate, like the debt was sold to them, he could make them swear because the document dies with her. Okay, that was case one. Now, case two. Neder shvua ein li alayich. I will never make you swear or make a neder v'al yirushayich, and I won't v'al haboim l'rishusayich. And I will write in the document your heirs or possessors of your estate also don't have to swear. Okay, Eina Yachal Ashbiya, he cannot make her swear. Lo he, not her, velo Yerisheho, not her heirs, velo es aboim berisheho, not anyone who legitimately comes into her possession. Aval, if he dies, Yershav Mishavi'inin Oisa, his heirs can make her swear they didn't get the kasuba because they're not party. He didn't list my heirs in the document. V'es Yerushaha, v'es Aboim b'Rishah, or upon her heirs or her successors. That was case 2. Case 3, he writes a more expansive document. Neder ainly, I won't make you take an oath or swear. Loli yarshe v'lo leboim b'rishusai, not my heirs won't be able to make you swear, nor the people who may legitimately own my estate. So then, or layich on you, v'al Yerushayich, and not on your heirs, v'al boim b'rishayich, and not upon those who succeed you. So now it's a very global document. He cannot make her swear. Lo, he, not her. V'lo Yerushav, not her heir. His heirs can't make her swear. V'lo habo im b'rishuso, nor anybody that owns his property. Lo also, not on her. V'lo Yisheho, not on her heirs. V'lo aboim b'rishuso, and not on those who may legitimately possess her estate. So that's the most global. So we have him and her and her heirs, his heirs, him and her heirs. Those are the 3 kinds of documents. I do not suggest you run home and prepare one of these with your wife. She's already divorced. Okay, so now we're going to try and take situational cases based on these kinds of documents. Halacha mekever baila lebeisavia. She buries her husband, and instead of going back to the family home, she goes to her father and lives there. Oh, shechazra lebeisav chamia, or she moves in with her in-laws. Velo nasi saprotropeho, but she does not serve as the executor of his estate. So, for example, she doesn't take care of the children, somebody else does, okay? Maybe another wife, okay? And Yorshin Mashvi'in Oisa, her heir, his heirs, may not make her swear that she didn't stuff some valuable things in her suitcase as she was moving out. Okay? The im nasis apotropiha, if she is the custodian or the executor of the estate, and she's responsible for paying the bills, feeding the kids, and so on, hayorshim mashbi'in oisa ala sidlovo, during the time of her custodianship, her heirs can impose a shvua on her that she is acting appropriately and not pilfering or diverting money from the estate. The ain mashbi'in osa al masha avar, but however she dealt with her husband and whatever she did while he was still alive, they cannot swear that she never did anything inappropriate then. So that's the din, okay? And that's the, and then we'll stop there and Kenny will pick up at the Mishnah, at the Gemara tomorrow.